Dr. Sean back on YouTube. Today I wanted to spend a few minutes talking to you about all these problems we've had with pet food in the news lately. Now, I know a lot of you are concerned about whether or not your pets might be eating food that's causing problems, especially kidney failure in a lot of cats and dogs. To me, the media is really missing the big story here. I want to share with you the story behind the story, the story the media is not giving you. I want to take you back many years. Before I became a veterinarian, I was an animal science major. One of the courses I took was a course called Meat Science, where we actually learned how to raise animals for the food industry, for slaughtering. So what I want to do for today is just pretend, for example, that I work at a slaughterhouse. You really understand the legal stuff that's allowed to be in your food, the junk that legally we can put in pet foods. Then you'll understand not just why this problem happened with some of our foods, but why this problem isn't happening on a more frequent basis. To me, that's the big story. Okay, I'm at a slaughterhouse. I'm working there, and today we're going to be slaughtering some dairy cows. We have a dairy cow that's coming in, and that's unusual because dairy cows are not normally slaughtered for meat. The meat that we eat is slaughtered from steers, male bulls that have been neutered, which increases their body fat, which makes the meat a little bit more tender. But we have to do something with our older dairy cows, so we do slaughter them. That kind of meat usually ends up, for example, at your kid's school in a school lunch program, or at a hospital or a retirement home or a prison. Not the best quality meat, but we can still use it for something. So we slaughtered this dairy cow, and we noticed that unfortunately somebody screwed up. She's pregnant. But we've already killed her, so we have to take that pregnant uterus and we stick it in a basket over here, a big hamper, a big old trash bin, if you will. In the slaughter process, we also know that this dairy cow has an abscess in the muscle of her thigh, her leg muscle. Well, we can't legally feed people pus, that's what an abscess is, so we have to cut the abscess out of the leg muscle, cut some extra meat with it, and we put it in that same bin that has that aborted fetus, that uterus in there. We also notice as we slaughter this cow that she's got tuberculosis of her lungs. Well, we can't legally serve people tuberculosis-infected meat, so that goes in the bin as well. And as we do the slaughter process, anything that's not legally allowed, not legally fit for human consumption, goes in this big trash bin. Well, I'm at the slaughterhouse here, and we've got all this stuff together, so what am I going to do with it? Well, we're not going to throw it away. Heavens forbid, we're going to lose money if we throw this stuff away. We can send all that scrap material, the aborted fetus, the tuberculosis lung, the abscess from the thigh, that can all go to a rendering plant. Now, a rendering plant is the place where we can take all this garbage, all this infected material, cook it up really well, and now we have a meat byproduct meal that we can sell to pet food companies. But I'm not done, because we also have other people coming to the rendering plant today. For example, look who just pulled up. We have animal control here. Animal control has been very busy. They've had to euthanize a lot of unwanted dogs and cats. Well, where do they put those? Well, sometimes they bury them, sometimes they cremate them, or sometimes they go to the rendering plant. That's fine. Throw the dogs and cats in there with the aborted fetus, the abscess on the thigh, the tuberculosis lungs. It doesn't really matter. We can legally put that stuff in pet food. That's also meat byproduct meal. And look, here comes another truck from animal control. This truck has roadkill. We have a dog or a cat that's been hit on the side of the road. We have a dead skunk, a possum, a rabbit, a squirrel, whatever. That's all meat byproduct. Well, wait a minute. Those dogs and cats in all that trash material are wearing flea collars. That's okay. No time to take those things off. That's going to go into this big vat. We're going to cook everything up, chop it up, and we get this soupy-looking meal. We take the fat off of that big meal after we render all this stuff. And that fat's going to be the fat source that's in a lot of pet food. And all this junk, trash, infected, dead, carcass material is now meat and bone byproduct meal that many pet food manufacturers use in their food. So here's the moral of the story. I think the bigger story is not that we have some contaminated food that was contaminated with some poison on wheat gluten, but rather, do you really know what your pet ate for dinner last night? Do you really appreciate all the toxic, garbage, infected junk that legally can be allowed to be in pet foods? I recommend finding a holistic veterinarian like myself, find a good, natural food that uses nice, high-quality meats and proteins, that doesn't use all these meat meals and junk, and that's the food you should feed your pet. There's no perfect food, but the more we can limit all this trash material under the name of meat and bone meal, byproduct meal, the more we can limit that in your pet's food, the healthier your pet's going to be. Now, for more information on diet, I'm going to refer you to my website, petcarenaturally.com. Also, check out 2 of my recommended reading books, Food Pets Die For, and my own award-winning book called The Natural Health Bible for Dogs and Cats. Until next time, this is Dr. Sean on YouTube. See you later.